James, and thanks to Clinic 88 for providing this environment for me to share the Feldenkrais method with you. We're going to get started with the lesson because the Feldenkrais method is all to do with your sensorial experience. So rather than getting you into the cognitive and into your brain, we're going to get straight into the practical. So can I ask everyone to move the chairs because you'll need to lie down on your back. So this carpeted area is perfect. Great. Okay, so we're all going to stand up and have a walk. Have a walk. So just have a walk. So just notice what you do when you walk. So just walk as you would normally walk. Don't bump into each other.
Did you bring him?
And notice as you walk that walking is a balancing act. You're actually stopping yourselves from falling forward. And now bring your attention to the hip joint. So put one finger on one hip joint, right or left, or where the hip joint would be. So some of you have your fingers on more of your greater trochanter, so the hip joint is actually much closer in for most of us, depending how big you are.
It moves.
And get a sense in particular of the hip and the knee extension. What the hip and knee are doing. And then come to a stop and lie down on your back. And take your shoes off, please. And your socks.
Oh, God, this is going to get smelly.
Should have done this in the morning.
Move closer to each other. So you all know each other, so cuddle in.
I'll go this way so I'm not going to put your face. How's that?
And I am going to be walking around. Good. And for now, yes, some of you have your books on your tummies, but just take them off. Yeah, leave them by your side. Good. And raise your right foot so the bottom of the foot is facing the ceiling. Good. And bend your other leg. So most of you will have to bend the other leg. And depending on your hamstrings, for some people this will be a breeze, and for some people this is going to be a stretch. And as it's there facing the ceiling, you're going to bend the knee so that the knee comes down towards your right shoulder. But keep the foot facing the ceiling. And then push back up to the ceiling. And then down again. So you keep going. So this is an awareness through movement lesson. And in an awareness through movement lesson, you keep repeating the movement. But remember, it's about feeling yourself. So some of you are going way too fast. So slow it right down. And some of you are not putting the foot facing the ceiling. So the foot must face the ceiling. So notice you may have to pick a different trajectory. And that's fine. So take... Are you okay, Jimmy? So keep going. So take the leg down and up. And then notice as you keep doing the movement, can you feel anything happening in the lower back? Or is it all in the foot, hip, knee? And have a rest. So Jimmy did warn me that I'd see a lot of dysfunctional movement patterns in the room. Was he right? It's too early to tell. But do sing out if you need clarification. And take your own breaks. So I'm going to give you breaks, but also take your own breaks. And now bring your legs bent. Take your legs to the floor. Good. And this time take your left foot to the ceiling. And repeat the movement. And so if your hamstrings are tight, you can imagine this movement. So don't do it if it's hurting. So the foot is going up and down. And do it slowly enough so you're trying to clarify, what is my hip joint doing in relationship to my knee, in relationship to my foot? And some of you may notice you have a very different strategy on this side. So put up your hand if this is a very different movement to the other side. Okay, so some of you have good kinesthetic intelligence and some of you don't. That's fine. So that's what the Feldenkrais method is about. It really is about increasing your awareness. It's not so much about the movement. It's about, do I know what I do? And so not being able to feel yourself is nothing to be embarrassed about.
Are you going to tell us whether we're good or bad?
Do you want that?
Yeah.
And then rest.
Good or bad? You said some people is good or bad, some good. So
I didn't use good or bad. I just said you had a different strategy on this side. It's not good or bad. And have your legs long when you have a rest this time. So take a good rest. Legs long. Have a rest. Close your eyes when you're resting. If you're feeling safe, close your eyes.
okay, those of us who have less.
Oh, do people understand kinesthetic intelligence? Sorry. So kinesthetic intelligence is knowing where you are in space, knowing what you're doing in space. So in this part, do you know what your leg, foot, knee is doing in space? So when you're standing up, can you feel yourself? Body awareness, I guess, is an easier word. So it's not insulting. We aren't taught this. And now you can bring your legs bent. And you're going to do the same action with the right foot, but this time you're going to put your book on the foot. So the book is going to balance on the foot. So those of you who are moving too fast will now understand why I suggested you move slow. So if you can't, if your hamstrings are really tight or your jeans, you can just imagine it. And then you're going to raise your right foot to the ceiling and back again. And keep it balanced as if you had a glass on the book. And notice how some of you don't have your toes on the book. Is this what you do when your feet are in the shoes? So this is an opportunity for you to really see, what do I do when I walk? What do I do when my foot... Oh, sorry. And keep doing the movement. And now can you really try and take that knee out towards the right shoulder? Yeah. So change the trajectory a little bit. And then as you bring the leg up, take it towards the midline.
So do you want it to go out this way, you mean, or towards the shoulder here?
Towards the right shoulder,
So
yeah.
sort of
On an angle, yeah. So more on an angle. So now there may be a sense of your hip joint spiraling. Take your break when you need to. So please take breaks. You don't have to wait for me. Take your breaks. It will depend on a lot of things. That's right. Yeah. So now you're taking the knee towards the shoulder and back up towards the midline. And take your breaks and join in when you can. And everyone take a rest. Let your legs be long. You're all doing well. There's not many books falling. Is this floor all right? And now bend both of your legs and place the book on your left foot. And again, take the book up towards the ceiling. And notice on this side is your...
It doesn't want to move on this side.
the hip joint or the knee. Is your foot doing the same thing? Is your ankle doing the same thing? It's good. Sorry? Yes. Yeah. So if you can at this stage, good question, you are keeping the pelvis on the ground. So there are always constraints in an awareness through movement lesson. And so you're taking the leg up and down.
So you really want to keep your sacrum, obviously, if it's nothing staying on the ground.
Yeah.
Every time I use my left leg, my whole body's just going up.
So don't go up so far.
I just can't keep my foot flat.
So imagine it. If you can't do the movement, imagine it. And then take your knee down, take your leg down, take the book down and have a long rest. Legs long. You're doing well. There's how many people are there in the room, Jimmy? About 60, and there's not many books falling, so you're doing well. And again, bend the legs. Bend the right leg up to the ceiling. Put the book on the foot.
So did you want the book on the foot?
Yes. And take the knee down towards the right shoulder if you can. And then push the book up towards the midline. And feel...